And I'll tell you something else. You know what? If this was the old-fashioned, genuine working man's Labour Party, the one that my dad and granddad used to vote for, they might even get my vote on the 4th of July after all. As I said, both my dad and my grandparents were Labour voters when I was a kid. So it's not like I come from some kind of line of wealthy Tories who would hold their nose at the thought of supporting a working man's party. I mean, do I sound like a Tory toff? But there's a wider point here, because I also understand that unless you follow politics quite closely and regularly, it's very easy to fall into the old Labour, we're the ones that will fight your cause perception. So today I have an appeal and a very strong warning to all of you thinking about voting Labour at the forthcoming general election. Because make no mistake, Labour will utterly destroy this country and everything that we hold dear. Labour will destroy your children's future, and Labour will slowly dismantle everything that we call British. And make no mistake, a Labour government will bring an exodus of a lot of wealthy taxpayers who pay a lot of their money into our system for those less fortunate, whilst allowing an even bigger influx of those who won't be paying any taxes at all, and that are just a further drain on our society and our economy. What could possibly go wrong? And Labour have already brought sectarianism, yes, 1970s Northern Ireland style sectarianism, to British politics in the 21st century. This is an undeniable fact, and this is just the beginning, because Labour will clamp down on our rights, on your rights, on our freedom of speech, our ability to criticise and to question, because that's what parties do when they've been heavily infiltrated by people who want ultimate power and who couldn't care less about your rights or our democracy. And Keir Starmer, if you want proof, has already said very clearly that the law must be changed to clamp down on Islamophobia. Like that's the biggest problem that this country faces, right? Now, what that really means in plain, simple terms is the introduction of blasphemy laws through the back door in the United Kingdom. It will become a crime to tell a joke or merely ask a question about a certain religion, which could lead you going to jail. Is that the future that you want for your country and for your family? And they will certainly put those that weren't born here ahead of you when it comes to housing and benefits. And why not? As die-hard, never ask any questions Labour voters, why should they care about you? They already have your vote, because you always vote for them. It's a habit, and they know it, and they've taken advantage of it. And if that isn't enough for you, do you think we really have room for 500,000 refugees from Gaza? A distinct possibility. Who's going to pay for them? Where are they going to work? Where are they going to live? What schools are they going to go to? What doctor's surgery are they going to attend? Because once Labour gain power, the Islamic influence will demand more and more and more until they get exactly what they want. And what they want is everything their way. Now look, if you want all of the above, then go ahead, vote Labour. If you want your children to grow up in an intolerant society, if you want your children to be second-class citizens in their own country, and if you want their education and future damaged beyond repair, then be my guest, that's your right. But as a parent, as a loving grandparent in my case, we all have a duty. Yes, we have a duty to think very long, very hard, and think very seriously about what we're voting for. And remember that once a government takes away a right, you very rarely, if ever, get it back. So I absolutely implore you, I beg of you, think very hard before voting for a party that has become one big ugly wolf in sheep's clothing.
Are you looking to sell your luxury watch but want a smooth and easy transaction?
Well, there you go. Afternoon, Richard.
Afternoon, Paul. How are you, mate?
I'm very well,
Sorry about
thank
being a
you.
bit late.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, mate. Well, that video, Richard, I don't know how much of that you saw, but I made that video, I think, about 4 weeks before the general election. And to some people would have thought I was exaggerating or scaremongering when I made that video. In fact, I was accused of scaremongering by one or two individuals, but it turns out I was understating the case.
I was just going to say, Paul, when you made the video, they all laughed. They're not laughing now, are they? To quote Bob Monkhouse and Nigel Farage.
Sorry, say that again?
To quote Bob Monkhouse and Nigel Farage. Is that too loud there, Paul? Can you hear that okay?
No, you're absolutely fine, Richard. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, look, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw open the show today, invite one or two guests on. If you haven't been on before, I'd particularly like to see you. And I'd like to speak to the lady that was in the chat earlier on. Was it CP Reports? The link's in the chat there if you want to hop on. As always, if you do come on, please make sure you refrain from using bad language and keep it polite. Is it too early to say season's greetings, Richard?
No, it's way too early to say season's greetings. I much prefer you say Happy Christmas, Paul.
Happy Christmas. Oh, I say both, all of them things. But I do remember cards when I was a kid that said season's greetings. So,
yeah, I think that was the start of political correctness, mate.
Well, all the way back then, prehistoric times.
I think so, mate. I think so. Season's greetings, yeah.
Merry Christmas to everyone. So, look, Richard, there's another thing that's been on my mind this week. 20th of January, Ricky Jones trial, the Southpaw trial, and the trial of Anthony Essan, who is accused of stabbing Lieutenant Colonel Mark Teaton. All start on the 20th of January. What else happens on the 20th of January? Donald Trump's inauguration.
Well, I think it's quite a big day in America, isn't it, Paul, if I remember right?
It is.
Yeah.
Now, is that? I mean, that's are we looking?
You know, listen, it's cynical in the extreme, and they do this. It was, I can't remember what.
Oh, just lost you there for a moment, Richard. Oh, just lost you there for a moment.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Connection's really ropey here, and I'm okay. No, I think it's absolutely right. I mean, they're doing it very cynically to tie this in with Trump's inauguration, because they know that people's eye will be on that. And it's, what is it? The Labour Party have done this. This isn't just because of these nudge units. The Labour Party's done this since the early 2000s. I think it was 9/11 or Diana's funeral. It's some absolutely catastrophic event when one of the Labour chief advisors went into Downing Street or went to Blair and said, "This is a good day to bury bad news." Do you remember that? It was about 20 years ago, maybe more. And something really bad had happened. And this little squeaky advisor that, again, has probably never done a day's work in the life, never got their hands dirty, turned around and said, "What a good day to bury bad news." And that's what they do all the time, Paul. They're looking for a good day to bury bad news. Yeah. It's cynical. It's sinister. There's something very sinister going on in this country at the minute, Paul. I've never seen the country like this. I've never seen a prime minister as despised and hated as Keir Starmer, and not because he's doing things, ideologically, but because he's just a very, very sinister man. There's something about him that's not right, and we've got what, 4 more years of this nonsense, or 4.5 more years of this nonsense, and it's going to be a long 4 years.
I thought that he would actually fall on his sword, but I don't think he's going anywhere. No. Richard, let me welcome CP Reports to the show. Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Now, I know that you were at a protest over the weekend.
On Saturday, pan sign one. And as always, the pan sign ones were violent ones, putting signs in my face, etc. I was just there reporting on it. All I do is go, report, and leave. And basically, I pushed the sign up my camera on my face, and the pan sign lot went crying to the police and had me de-arrested after 40 minutes. But I did go and get a medical report on my wrist and my hand, and it contusion of the hand.
Did they handcuff you?
That was diagnosed. I was fumbled the handcuffs of the police.
Let's have a little look. They were. I've got a little bit of the clip from what happened. Let's have a little look at that. Alan, I'll be with you in a second, my friend. I can see you in the background there.
And he The journalist arrested.
So basically, guys, what happened is one of the Palestine protesters claimed I assaulted her when I basically pushed the sign out in front of my camera and my face.
Just gonna walk straight.
And basically, come in front of me, guys, with the cameras.
Just might out.
I will, yeah. And basically, she then ran crying to the police, saying I assaulted her when clearly I did not. And that makes what happened. The officers then came over to me. I just said to them, I'm going to film the march, and basically they then put me in cuffs because there was an allegation of assault when there was no assault taking place. So I will not be giving my details at all, even if I end up onto the station, if that what happens, because I will not be giving my details at all. So there will be a tax claim going in, and I'll probably get a good amount of money for this because I will be pushing it to the end of this. So these officers are now in the wrong and they do not know how much they're fucked up.
Okay, no more. You need to tell me one, seriously.
Guys, stay outside, guys. We'll have a chat.
Now, I'm kind of lost.
Seven police officers.
I was going to say, I counted about 6 or 7. I mean,
7.
You're obviously a very real threat to them.
I mean, you look to me. Can I have a guess? You look like you're probably about 6 stone and about 5'5".
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why they would need so much police presence, and more than anything, why they would need to humiliate you and put handcuffs on you.
Because all I said to them was, Paul, I was going to film the march. That was a march of a Palestine lot. After that happened, basically before that, I was going to film the march of a Palestine lot. I do Tommy Robinson lot. I'm always at the front filming Tommy Robinson ones and everything. I'd go to all the protests, yeah, in London. And I was going to film the march. They were going to the march up to Downing Street. And the police then just grabbed me because they didn't want me going to film the march. Because the protester that put a sign in my face that I pushed away said I assaulted her.
And did they question her? Did they just took her word for it? What was the situation there?
Nope. Took her word because she cried to the police.
What do you
saying that I assaulted her.
So can I take it? I mean, look, we've never met before, but I take it that you're kind of on our side. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, look, let's be fair. So let's make that clear to people. You're on our side, but how would you say, or what would you say to people that say that two-tier policing doesn't exist? Now, I've witnessed enough to laugh me the rest of my life, but tell me what you think. Of course it exists.
Seriously, after that, it does exist. It seriously is out there because if you see the other footage that I'm putting out tonight that I got sent, you will see basically what happened. You see me seeing my footage that I just pushed out my way. And the police didn't look at any of the footage. They just basically took a word for it without basically looking at any footage of anybody around me or on my body camera, which picked it all up. And basically, the police are just there now really to arrest journalists. That all they're doing is going out to arrest assistant journalists at protests.
Alan, good afternoon. It does. Alan, good afternoon. Let me welcome Alan. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Paul.
Good man. Good to see you again.
I've got everything running right now because I couldn't subscribe to your channel. So I had to redo it all. It's on the bank 8 weeks to get it sorted, but now I'm all right. I'm having the same problem with Richard's channel. I can't give him any money neither, because I know he needs it. But for the same thing, expenses and flights and travelling and trains and
Mate,
stuff.
Alan, you keep your money for yourself, mate. You keep
No,
your
no,
money
no,
for
no,
you.
no, 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 no. Listen, I can't take it with me. My missus doesn't want it because she's got enough. So I've got to give it away. And I've got to give it to a good cause. I'm strong. Anyway, I'm not going anywhere. So why are we talking about
Yeah,
that subject?
exactly.
Well, listen, on a serious note, I've been in touch with the prison and I didn't get much joy there. I'm going to go to the prison next week with a card with £200 phone cards in it for Tommy to keep in touch with his children and his wife or ex-wife, as it may be. I'm going to try and find the reception so I can take it all in with some fruit and tinned fruit and tuna and some pasta and because I know he don't like fish. But I'll treat him to a bleeding big steak when he comes out. You know what I mean? At the Savoy. And you and Richard there. And I'm very, very sorry to hear what happened to you. I'd seen it on Maya Tusi's TV because I subscribed to him as well. When I went to Manchester the other week, when they was all rioting and celebrating, well, they weren't rioting, they were celebrating about the fall of Syria. There wasn't a copper to be seen in sight.
Yeah.
Not one. Right? Now, as you all know, you know what's happening to me. You know what road we're looking at. So I don't care. I've been reposting things, mate, for the last 12 months. I didn't know it was against the law because I believe in free speech and I believe in our country. Now, if this Prime Minister thinks that he can get away with stopping us from voting in the local elections and the national election, then he better think again. Because if he does do that, then I don't want to see this. And this is why I pray on Paul and Richard to get the people around the table to figure all our differences, concentrate on the one main problem, and that he's getting them away. So I can see Britain have the great put back into it, and Ireland and Wales and Scotland. That is what I want to see before I leave. Right, so that's what I'm hanging on for. And I'm praying to that man upstairs, and he's giving me. I'm praying for all you lot every day and every night. Right?
Bless you.
And I'm going to that prison no matter what. It's 163 miles from my house. So that's what, 200-300 mile round trip. And I'm not bothered about that trip as long as I can get them presents to him on Monday when I go, because that's when I'm going. And I'm going to get there and I'm going to go to the prison and tell them what the situation is. And they know that I can't type because I'm paralysed, can't feel anything. So I'll just say, could you please do me a big favour, and I'll say a prayer for him, if you make sure that Stephen gets this and gets the card with the £200 of the phone cards in it for him to keep in touch with his family, and you, Paul, and you, Richard. That's what I'm doing on Monday.
Don't you worry about us, mate. You worry about yourself. I mean,
No.
you're fine to worry about Tommy. But listen,
Listen, Paul, I can't do anything. I'm in a wheelchair, right? And as you know, I've got cancer. So at the end of the day, I can't do anything from this wheelchair. It stops me. So the only way I can do it is by supporting you guys by doing it. You can't do it out of your own expenditure because your expenditure doesn't cover for this. And it doesn't. So I don't understand why we've not got a just gift fund here for this, because it would generate, and people need to know, I've got 20 people sign that pledge just by
Bless you.
talking in the street.
Good
It's
man.
amazing, Alan.
You
Yeah.
know, you've just got to do it. You've got
Alan,
to,
you're doing
you've all
God's
got to
work.
unite.
And let me tell you something. I was going to announce this on Christmas Eve, but you've brought your message today has brought this announcement forward.
No, please don't, because I'll tell you why, Paul. I want to join you Christmas Day. Or
Oh
Christmas
yes,
Eve, whenever
yeah,
it is.
you'll be, yeah, lovely, mate. But let me tell
Okay.
everyone now. Every penny I make over the Christmas period from this channel will be going towards at least one coach on February the 1st. I'm going to be buying I'm going to be buying people some train tickets so that they can get down. I don't want to make a penny over the Christmas period. I'm going to put it all back into the community and help get people down on February the 1st. And Alan, can I just say, mate, that's one of the most heartfelt messages and most humbling messages I've had this year. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate
I
it.
think you're absolutely wonderful. I think Rich is wonderful. My heart goes out to you both because I know how difficult and I know how frustrating it was. I watched your video on Sunday and you upset me there because I thought this is getting to him and he's feeling lost. And we're all feeling there. We're all feeling lost at this moment in time. But just listen to me words, people in the room, please. Let's all unite together and give one another hope and love one another like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Let's all unite. And unite, forget the big differences, unite, get behind Paul, get behind Richard, get behind young Stephen when he comes out after his holiday with his children and his missus. And let's get this, take the cow by its horns and kick its ass.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if the leadership at Reform would watch this message from this man?
Wow.
Wow.
Mm.
Powerful.
I'm not being funny, but I could tell you a few things, but I can't tell you on air because let's just put it this way. I've been in there. I know what they're up to. I know what they're like. I know the people what we're dealing with. I did it back in the 70s. I was knocking about with people like that. And I am ashamed to say that because I had businesses at the time. I've had a chain of pubs. I have my own transport company. I've done all sorts, and I just kept going. And they took my company, my transport company away from me because I wouldn't join their clan. I went in with my eyes shut, Paul, and I came out with my eyes wide open. I knew what they were up to. I've stayed in the Houses of Parliament. I've slept there. I've drunk there. I've smoked the King Edwards. I've been in the Chesterfield. I've got different contracts given to me company by backhanders. I know what they're like. They're all about one thing, themselves. And this is another thing. This just brings me to another thing that really, really does oil my pee, right? And what it is, I'm not being funny. I think we need to change the system when we do get it because I think that they should be prosecuted.
Absolutely.
If they've misled the public and used the funds to gain for themselves money and the investments, that is proceeds of crime, is it not? They brought that law in. Am I speaking right here when I say that?
Absolutely.
And another thing, just before I shut up now, because my throat, listen to this. I watched the court case, right? I've listened to it very carefully, and I've studied the laws, and I've been still studying them. I've also got the Black's Dictionary, so I know how to speak, right? I know all about body language. You know how to lip read as well, And what I'm saying is this. When that judge denied Stephen and them children the jury of the peers, he decided to hear that case. He didn't hear that case in close doors. It was in open court because he had the press there. Once they heard what he wanted to say, they all got up and buggered off, right? So, one, He turned around and named all the children after Stephen's lawyers. Stephen asked not to, because you would ruin their careers and their futures, especially that young girl who's studying law. 2, he called them and all the teachers liars. Yeah. So as he's done all that, by the time he's done this, before he imposed the sentence on Stephen for saying, if you release that film, I will hold you contempt, looking back into the laws of the 14 and 1500s, yes, he put himself in contempt because a judge can do that. And he can be held to account for that because of what he's done. He's took one person's statement and ordered that Stephen paid that money, which bankrupted him and everything and what have you, to that child, when Stephen clearly says on the video, I feel sorry for the child. I think the child needs help and what have you, because he's not received it, because he's come from a war-torn country or whatever it was at the time. But now the evidence is out there, which was clear to see to anybody in the public that that was British journalism at its best, where journalists used to be back in the 60s, who Richard and Paul will remember. Well, I don't know about Richard, but I think Paul will. I'm a bit older than both of you.
I remember the 70s as well, Alan. Just
Yeah, well, you know, but
yeah.
that's that judge. He's in contempt well before he put Stephen in contempt.
Richard, I think you wanted to come in there, mate. What did you want to say?
Well, I mean, it takes a lot to get me speechless, but Alan's achieved that this afternoon. You know, I think anyone watching what you've just said will be moved by your passion, by your commitment, by your love for your country, your love for your fellow men, your love for God. I just, honestly, Alan, I'm humbled sitting here.
Sometimes I think we're flogging a dead horse.
Well, we're not, brother. We're not, and you know what? We're doing this for you, and we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. So don't give up hope. And your passion's inspired me, brother. It's inspired me massively. And like I say, it takes a lot to get me speechless or to get me emotional, but you managed it. And I'm about as emotional as a toothpick.
We've got a British lawyer right in jail where he shouldn't even be. Should be in there.
In jail.
The leading judge should be in there. And Keir Starmer along with him. It's ridiculous what this country has come to. We used to have some backbone. Where we got? What we're doing? We're allowing to be invaded, even if they didn't get across the channel. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I'm sorry for getting upset, Paul.
No.
I'm sorry, viewers.
Alan, Alan, you know something?
Fine.
Yeah, this is what we're here for, Alan. We're here. People, look, do you know what? I don't give a shit. People can call us what they like. We know we're on the right side of history here.
Yeah.
We're doing the right thing.
You are my world. You are my world. Why? Because you allow me to have my say. And disabled people are feeling as if they've been left behind. And I've told them, I know many of them, I said, if I get the chance, and I get, because I'm not a technical guy, I said, I get onto Paul's channel, my friend, I said, I will speak up for you. I said, because I'm disabled, well, I'm paralysed from the neck down. But they've got a voice, and no one's listening to them. Some of them are worse off than me, and my mum brought me up with morals and very, very, very strict. And she always said, remember, it's somebody out there worse off than you. So pull your socks up, pull yourself together, and get out there and help them, because you're stronger than what they are at the moment. And that's how I do it. You know, and I live by them morals and I live by them beliefs.
Alan, I don't know if you can see the comments that are coming in, but you got amazing support.
Yeah.
In the comments here. I mean, amazing support. And
thank you, people.
You know, I'm just very, very proud that people like Richard and I have been able to bring people together, to give them something to cling on to. And I was saying, Richard, before you came on, that what worries me about what Starmer's doing right now is that whilst we've got lots of Allens and lots of CP reports and lots of, not everyone listens to us. Not everyone will listen to our message of peace and unity. And there'll be sections of societies out there that will think, well, what do we do now? We can't vote our way out of this mess. What do they do? And there's a big danger there. And
there is that, but you know what I mean. And again, Alan, this is listening to you just now, right? Do you know what you've done? And my wife will probably be watching this as well. And
I know exactly what you're going to say, Richard. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Has stirred me to keep going, no matter what, because we do. Look, I'll be honest with you. We get a lot of grief from all sorts of different quarters, me and Paul and other people, and all we're trying to do is do what's right. And your encouragement and your passion, it's inspirational, Paul. You've inspired me, right? You have put fire in my belly, brother, and I mean that. So iron sharpens iron. We're helping each other, and just the stand that you're taking, and what you're willing to do on, is it Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve? What you're willing to do is just absolutely inspirational. And so, don't give up hope. We're not going to give up, and we're certainly not going to give up after sitting chatting to you this lunchtime. These conversations, you have conversations in your life. I will remember this conversation for a long, long time, Alan, because it's not often I meet someone as inspirational as you. So a lot of people can talk. I can talk well. Paul can talk well. But brother, you have absolutely showed courage, and you have inspired me this lunchtime. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So fair play to you. You're a British hero. You talk about Tom being a British hero. You're a British hero as well. I mean that, brother.
Yeah, you are, Alan. And let me tell you something.
No, you are. You all are. You all are. You're my hero.
Alan, you are.
Alan, let me tell you something. I promise you, what you said earlier on about me being a bit washed out this week was absolutely right. I've been feeling it this last week. You have just put you have just set my fire alight again.
Yep.
Because it makes me realise every time I meet people out on the street, it makes me realise. But when someone like you comes on and says what you've just said, it fires me up again, and it makes me realise. It makes us all realise that we're doing it. So, as Richard said, look, we're lucky enough to have a mic. You haven't particularly got that. You're an ordinary guy sitting at home. You haven't necessarily got a mic 24/7 like we have, but you're doing your bit. That's all we can ask, and you're going over and above. So, mate, honestly, amazing.
Let me just say to the people, right? I know you get frustrated with Paul and you get frustrated with Richard. Please don't take out on them, because when they say these things we can't report on, they mean that. They can't, because it's got to be worked on inside around the Knights table. You remember the Knights Templar?
Yeah.
King Arthur's table, around that table. And it's the same as when you see the people like Stephen when he comes out of jail, and maybe, I don't know, Ben the Beeb and Richard and Paul, and bring everybody together around that table. That discussion will not be broadcast on, because you can't tell your opponent which move you're going to make on that chessboard.
Yeah.
You've got to play like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do.
And we do a lot of that, unfortunately. Yeah, we have to do a lot of that, unfortunately. Let me just go back to CP reports for a moment. So, are you going to follow that arrest up with the police at all?
So I put a civil claim in with H&K. H&K contacted me this morning. Unfortunately, they are not sure if they will be successful with the claim, so they will not follow it up. But I am talking to others at minute about going down a disciplinary route with the police for that officer for unlawful arrest as well. So there is other stuff happening, but I will be following it up over the next couple of days. And also, like, I had an ex-police officer who is now retired comment on my video and explain all the wrongdoings with the arrest that the police has made. And he even said to me on that comment that the arrest was so badly unlawful. So badly
Well,
unlawful.
unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again. Look, CP reports and Alan, I'm going to let you both go now because we've got a few things to get through before the end of the show.
Thank you, Paul.
We've got over
Lovely to meet
5,000
you all.
people watching. Alan, thank you so
I
much,
will get
brother.
out.
Alan, bless you, brother.
Come
I
on,
will get out.
Alan. Make sure you come on over the Christmas period, yeah.
I will. I'll do a get out.
Good man.
So what
Pardon me?
were we saying there? What were you saying there, brother? What did you say, Alan? What did you say
I'll
there,
do
mate?
a get out.
Alan, what did you say? You just said something.
How
I'll
do
do
you
a get out.
basically at the bottom, Alan, it will say leave studio.
Oh, I'll let you
right,
out,
okay,
mate.
yeah.
All the best, Alan.
Yeah,
CP
Paul.
reports. Thank you very much. Take care, and thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Wow, Richard, bloody hell, that's done me, that one. Let's
Do you know
go.
what, Paul? Let's get it right. That's what this is about. It's about Alan, and you know, he said, you know, we get frustrated. People get frustrated with Richard and Paul. I thought I get frustrated with Richard. You know what I mean? So they're all in good company. But you know, all joking aside, I mean, Alan is absolutely what this is about. And Paul, you know yourself, my wife goes through all the comments on my YouTube channel. And again, I've only got a fraction of what you've got in terms of YouTube. But the amount of people there, this is how serious this is. And this is why we've got to keep doing what we're doing. And we've got to do it right. And we've got to keep, like he said, I mean, Alan said it there, it's got to be about peace. It's got to be about love. It's got to be about bringing everybody together. And we've got to keep, because it's very easy to get angry and frustrated and say things in anger, and then you think about it after, you think, you know, I shouldn't have said that. Not because I'm worried about the police coming and kick my door, and I couldn't give two hoots about that, but because we've got to keep people positive and keep people with hope. I've had people on my channels saying in the comments that they're on the verge of suicide, and we've lifted them by what we've said, right? And listen, I mean, if someone as dumb as me can lift somebody's spirits, you know, then it shows we're in a very, very desperate situation, Paul.
It
Do you know
also
what I mean?
shows you what a serious job we're doing in the respect that we must never.
It's a massive responsibility, and look, let's get it right, Paul. I've got it wrong on loads of occasions. I've said things in anger. I've said things wrong. My words have come out wrong, especially when you're doing lives. You can say things wrong. But I think both me and you, I've got to know you, Paul, nearly a year now. And we're in a situation where I know that your heart's in the right place and my heart's in the right place, that we want to help the situation. We don't want this country descending into chaos. In fact, we're doing everything we can in our power to make the opposite happen. You know, and whenever we see anything that seems like it's going to go down that road, we come down on it as much as we can, like a ton of bricks, and say, no, that's not the way things should be done. And chatting to Alan there, you know, I mean, look, I have no intention of giving up, but when you get those times when you think, is it worth all the grief and all the hassle and all the, you know, and the laugh of it is when people are talking about, you know, you see all this nonsense, people are just doing this for the money. Like, if me and you were at full tilt at our businesses like we are at this, we'd be multi-millionaires, mate. I mean, you know yourself, there's times I don't finish doing this from 11 o'clock, and I've started at 7 o'clock in the morning talking to people. You're the same.
Let me just make it clear. I wouldn't accept any money from Alan whatsoever.
No, neither would I. Neither would I.
And if he forced it upon us, it will go straight into the pot for something better. That'll absolutely guarantee anyone.
Absolutely.
Let me just go back to some of the comments, because we've got a few supers here. Great, love you, Paul. I get excited when your show's on. Make someone excited. Lovely. Sean, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Gray again. Sorry, banging reform drum. I only want what's best. Gray, that's absolutely fine. Look, listen, we want what's best, and that's why I get a bit frustrated with reform for continually failing to unite us. But we're not going to go down that route this morning.
No, we're not. I mean, what we will say is that the biggest unifying force in the country at the minute is Tommy Robinson.
Exactly.
Simple as. He's the man that's, and I mean, you know, I think there's a bit in this email I can read. I got an email from her there if I can find it. Let's have a look.
Freefalling
Just
says,
keep
why
going.
can't King Charles dissolve the government? Claire Bear, thanks for your help again, Claire, moderating today. He spoke to a Labour councillor last night. I asked him to sign the pledge, and he did. His words were, Starmer has annihilated Labour and disgusted with what he has done, especially to the elderly. Claire, well done, because those are precisely the sort of people we need to get signing the pledge. Those that have not previously been converted. Steve Edwards, we need to crowdfund nationwide ad for the pledge. Alan Wilden, Paul, have you got a crystal ball?
Paul, can I
What you
read
have
this
seen is true.
from Tommy's email, mate? Can I just read this from
Absolutely.
Tommy's email?
Absolutely.
Just a couple of lines here, right? And I'll just put my glasses on so I can see it properly.
So this is directly from Tommy's email.
The glasses aren't. Yeah, the glasses aren't really helping. So let me just zoom in a bit on the computer screen, see if that makes it a bit bigger.
You got me quite excited with them on Rich there. You pop them back on.
Yeah, you worry me, Paul. You actually worry me. Not that I'm going to be homophobic or anything, but it's not really my cup of tea. Anyway, okay. This is one line from his email. He says, because I sent him an email last week. Obviously, I met him since on Sunday, but you know the way the emails. He sent me this email on Friday, and I'm only getting it now. It just shows the problems that we've got with that system that they've got there. The thing is about the prison; they're totally swamped with emails, but keep sending them because he wants all the emails. But the prisons are such dumbasses; they can't cope with not the prison officers, but the administration can't cope with the amount of stuff that's getting sent to Tommy. Anyway, so he says this. He says, "Bro, I knew coming back to the UK and facing it and ending up here would send me to prison. But I also knew it would be beneficial in the long run for our cause, and that's why I did it." He says, "This will help with our momentum and our support from the public, whatever happens to me."
Wow.
Just think about this. Just
read that, Richard. Read that out again.
So he said, "I knew coming back to the UK and facing it, I would end up in prison. But I also knew it would be beneficial in the long run for the cause. This will help with our momentum and our support from the British public, no matter what happens to me."
Says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Says it all.
And then he says, "When I came out of prison in 2010, I was a mess and did not make the most of the situation." He says, "When I come home this time, I want it to be all over, and I want to maximize the success for our movement." That's what he's thinking about. Paul, he's thinking
about us,
about the people.
He's
And when I spoke to him on Sunday, he was saying exactly the same thing. He was saying, "I was thinking about the people." And listen, that's been picked up on Andre Walker. Now, if people don't know who Andre Walker is a very, very big cheese in Talk TV. He's a Talk TV journalist. He's been smashing on his own YouTube channel, and he basically promoted the September event. He promoted. He said it's going to be the biggest freedom rally since the Peasants' Revolt. That's what he said in his video.
Well, I'm hoping that will be on the 1st of February, actually.
Well, no, I was going to come back to that. But September, we'll get to February in a minute. But we've got to start building massive momentum for September. And Andre said, now think about this. Andre Walker is a paid-up, card-carrying member of the Conservative Party. And I would imagine, because of his influence, he's quite prominent in the Conservative Party. Andre Walker has said that he's coming to that event in September. He said that on the video, right? And if you get watching this, Andre, you're cordially invited. You'll be made very, very welcome. Now, he's a member of the Tory party, and we've dug the Tory party out in here for about a year, right? Since before the election, after the election. Reform need to step up as well. Because if Andre's coming and he's a member of the Conservative Party, that means people in Reform should be able to say, "Do you know what? I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with Tommy Robinson." Then what happens? Then what happens with Mr. Tice and Mr. Farage? And I'm not digging them out. It's a challenge to them. We've got to get together. There's too much at stake here. And I know from people that have spoken to Nigel Farage that he seems to be warming to the idea. From what I can hear, Paul, I don't know if you're hearing the same thing. Now, it could be a bit of gamesmanship, but that's what I'm hearing. So if that's the case, the door's still open. The door's still open.
I'll believe it when I see it.
For this grand coalition, Paul, because that grand coalition has to go from the right wing of the Conservative Party to UKIP. That's what that grand coalition has to be. And it has to include Ben and, all the good people in UKIP, all the good people in Reform, all the good people in the Conservative Party, everyone that signed the pledge, all of Tommy's team and Tommy's supporters. Now, that's what I see as the grand coalition. And then all the other big-time commentators, the intellects and the Dominic Cumminses, the Douglas Murrays, the Matt Goodwins, everybody.
It's
David
happening.
All those people.
It's happening. Now, Richard, I want to do this because it's perfect timing, right? You've just spoken about what Tommy's thinking about whilst he's sitting alone for 21 hours a day. He's the man that's in charge of this country. He's the man that we need to vote out at the next opportunity, whenever that's going to be allowed. Have a listen to this and compare this man to the man you just spoken about.
Of times, and you have just skirted round it. I did ask, would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to the pensioners who feel hurt and less well off, certainly not better off, because you've taken away their winter fuel allowance? Would you like to say sorry?
The people who should be saying sorry are the last government who left a hole of £22 billion. And they should be sorry for that, and they should apologise for that.
So you're not going to apologise?
I've come in to fix the mess, fix the problems.
Fix the mess, fix the problems. And he starts it by sending £50 million to Syria.
That man has to go. I mean, it's as simple as that. Look, the reality is, Paul, all of this today is because yourself, we all kind of get, we can, like you said, we can all get tired. It's coming up to Christmas. We can all take the foot off the gas. But what today has done, that video, Alan, CP, that's inspired me to keep fighting. That woman, a journalist, not a threat to anybody. How can she be arrested for assault, right? Just a nice lady that's doing her best with a camera, not a threat to anybody, put in handcuffs on the streets of London for filming a jihadist supporting march. Because let's get it right. If you're supporting Palestine, you're supporting Hamas. End of, right? Don't care what excuses you try and bring. And, there's been a lot of footage posted by, Israeli people in the last few days, reminding everybody what happened on October the 7th. And just like the Holocaust, when I grew up, my parents always taught me, never forget what they did to the Jewish people. Never forget what Nazis and fascists. And that's why I've always been against fascism and Nazis and the goose steppers on the right of British politics. I've always been against them my whole time. But people are forgetting already what Hamas did. And then you look at Starmer with his shark's eyes, not one bit of contrition, not one bit of saying, well, we're going to try and find other ways of helping the pensioners. No, blame the other lot, blame the Tories. Well, hold on a minute, Keir. It was you, Keir Starmer, and your groupies like Piers Morgan, that whenever lockdowns were happening, you were saying lock down harder, lock us away longer, destroy the economy a little bit more. Because this has come as a direct result of the media pressure. Don't get me wrong, the Conservative government crumbled and failed during lockdown by locking us up for too long and too hard. But if it had been his lot, we'd probably be still in lockdown now. We'd probably be in a complete socialist economy like China. So, and do you know what, Paul, as well? See this thing with China and Prince Andrew. I'd love to know what connections the CCP has with the Green lobby, with the Net Zero lobby, with people in the Labour. We already know of Gardner. Do you remember the MP Gardner?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't slander or libel.
No, it's not fairy
Gardner,
tale stuff.
He was implicated with a Chinese spy, and the person was named. But how deep does it go in the Labour Party? How deep does it go in the Tory Party with people like Hunt? They're just questions. Do you know what I mean, Paul? They're questions that need to be answered. So Starmer, how he's got the audacity to stand there when he's jetting himself around the world. I don't even know what he's trying to achieve, to be brutally honest with you. Giving, like you say, £50 million away to goodness knows who in Syria. And again, when you dig into that Syrian quagmire, and we've looked at it a little bit, it is messy, it is murky, and we should certainly not be sending a penny there until we know exactly how that
Exactly
money
where
is
it's
going to be
going.
spent and going to be
Exactly.
accounted for.
Anyone watching this, don't get us wrong. We're not people that would deny feeding starving children or helping people that are sick to get better and to get them out of pain. Not at all.
I spent tens of thousands of pounds of my own money
I know.
before I got involved in the movement. My obsession before that was feeding kids in Sierra Leone and starting children's homes and looking after the absolutely destitute and sponsoring pastors and families, because I knew that the money I was giving made a difference and saved people's lives. Now, financially, I'm not in the position to do that anymore, sadly. But when I was, I did it, and I'm talking. I'm not boasting about it. I'm just telling you, it's just the way it was. At tens of thousands of pounds of my own money that I could have put into a pension pot, or I could have put it into fancy holidays or nice cars when I had money. But the reality is that this isn't about denying the poor money. We know that foreign aid is one of the most corrupt systems on the planet. You go out and you see how some of these people who are spending the foreign aid money live out there, driving around in the SUVs and living in the 5-star hotels. And that's some of the aid workers, sadly. So, we've got to get it right. That the reality is that 50 million quid at the minute, in the situation our country's in, we can't afford to do foreign aid anymore. And I don't care about the soft power argument. I don't care about, trying to influence things. It doesn't work anyway. Do you really think when we send money to China,
starts home? Yeah,
when we send money to China, do you think that's really going to influence the Chinese communists to not try and take over the world? Nonsense.
Of course not. Joyce, thank you very much. Susan has been a member now for 2 months. Thank you, Susan, so much. Bless your heart. Free falling is the king part of everything Labour is doing. I'm very disappointed with the king. Bazza Jones, thank you. Bazza Jones again, thank you very much. And Juisley Bob is also a member from up there in Scotland. Des, how you doing, Des? Get your rail tickets now. They're a lot cheaper buying in advance and even cheaper if you have a rail card. Julie Blackman, what a wonderful chat. Bless you all. United. Thank you, Julie. Phil, the only way Starmer will be removed from power is by individuals within his own party, and that is, at the moment, they are cut from the same cloth.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. Absolutely, Phil. Absolutely. Cole, thank you.
This is why we've got to make a long-term plan. I mean, it's not about, and if you look at what they're doing with those, the new boundaries of these super councils, Paul, I haven't looked into it. But my guess is if the Labour Party are the ones that are making the rules, that's going to be stacked so that they're going to try and get themselves a majority. It's called gerrymandering. They did it in Northern Ireland, to ensure a unionist majority in councils. And I'm convinced that's exactly what the Labour Party will be doing as well, because we know how corrupt they are. But can I just talk about the 1st of February there, Paul? Because I think, because I'm going to have to shoot off in a minute.
Richard, go on, fire away, mate.
Yeah, I think the 1st of February, Tommy is 110% behind it. He wants as many people to get there on the 1st of February as possible. He said that when I was with him on Sunday. It has to. What we've got to do on the 1st of February is show that even with Tommy behind the door, people will come out in massive numbers. And now they did it before in the Free Tommy demos, right? And they were a little bit boisterous. This isn't going to be like that. This is going to be an event. It's going to be a celebration again, but it's also going to be a lobby of the British establishment about what's happening in the judicial system, because there is 100% a two-tier policing system. There's 100% a two-tier judicial system. There's 100% a two-tier prison system. There's 100% a two-tier political system, and there's a two-tier media system, and a two-tier civil service. Even if you look at the great work that Connor Tomlinson's been doing on the lobbying groups within the Home Office. So we need to take this right to the heart of government. Tommy, again, cannot overemphasize how much this needs to be the same as all the other events, completely peaceful, working with the police, completely within the law, and an event that yes, it is in a way going to be a protest, because we're talking about some very serious issues. So, and Tommy's not going to be there because he's in prison. So it is going to be about freeing Tommy. It's going to be about getting Tommy different categorization. It's going to be about getting Tommy his proper legal rights, because I believe he's actually been wrongfully imprisoned at the minute because he's in the wrong category of jail.
Yeah.
It's going to be about all those things. And we need as many people there as possible, because that will send a message to the government that even when it's about quite a narrow issue, which is about prisoners' rights and about two-tier justice, and we could bring the Northern Ireland veterans into the two-tier justice thing as well, because that witch hunt has started again. People probably don't realise, but the veterans are getting very, very angry about what's happening to former SAS soldiers, former Special Forces soldiers, who they're trying to, undercover soldiers who did the most courageous work during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. And these rats, these corrupt judges are trying to drag them back into courts in Northern Ireland. So it's going to be about everything to do with the judiciary and the legal system. And you've got to be there, because we've got to let the government realise that even though Tommy's in prison, it doesn't stop people coming. Because what will happen is maybe they'll stop. I remember years ago, I spoke to the police years ago. It was a very senior police officer. The police were very disturbed about what was happening at some of the events we were organising. And they asked me to come and speak to them. And I spoke to them for about an hour. Had Tommy's cameraman with me filming everything. And at the end of it, this very senior police officer in the Met, he says, "What can we do to stop the disturbances on the streets?" And so it's very simple. You can stop sending Tommy Robinson to prison. And obviously, with this event on the 1st of February, we're not wanting any trouble or violence whatsoever. What we do need is a massive turnout of peaceful people who will say, enough's enough. You're making this life man's hell, literally. You're trying to destroy him. You're trying to break him. Well, we're going to stand with him as if we are Tommy Robinson. So yeah, I mean, people have got to get there. We'll make sure it's a fun event. We'll make sure it's a marvelous event, but it's about a very, very serious issue. And you can do both, Paul. You can have a fun event that is also about a very, very serious issue. And it will be, we will be making sure that it's peaceful, it's respectful, and it's done right. So get your tickets booked. 1st of February.
Please make sure you're there. Cole, thank you. We feel for you guys from across the Atlantic. Love from the USA. Phil Bauer, sorry. What did people truly expect from Starmer, whose morals compass is so off it's offensive? He's defended some true scum and dangerous individuals. Alan Wilden, thank you. Paul and Richard, appreciate that, Alan. Cop Watcher, we all stand by you, Paul, and with the pledge, thank you. Julie Blackman, worried January public are going to lose it. Not good. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that people are just going to get so pissed off that they start to misbehave, and that's what we got to try and avoid. Thank you, Beastie.
Well, that's why, Paul. We've got to come in on that. That's why we have these events, so that people have an outlet for that anger that is peaceful. That does make a difference. Believe you me, look, the fact that people like Andre Walker are talking about our events now, the fact that, people like Dan Wotton are talking about our events, that people on Talk TV have been talking about it, people on GB News, the mainstream aren't going to listen. The mainstream is so controlled, it's not normal. But some of the right-wing media outlets, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail, they're going to start talking about these events in a positive light. Hopefully they'll stop listening to Hope Not Hate and start listening to us. But, that's what we're doing it for, is to give them an outlet. The other thing I was going to say, Paul, because I do have to shoot. The other thing I was going to say was pledge. Weekend of action, Paul. Just fill everyone in again. I mean, because you're better at this. You're better at that sort of thing than I am, Paul. What's the plan, mate?
So this weekend, guys, as you know, we've got many, many, many thousands of people signed up to the pledge. This weekend, we implore you to help us, to help Alan, to help Tommy, to help yourselves, to help your children's future. Please make sure that you get at least one person, preferably 5 or 10. But whatever you do this weekend, Friday the 20th, Saturday the 21st, Sunday the 22nd, 3 days of action, we need to double our pledge membership. Only you guys out there can make that happen. But will you? That's the big question.
Yeah,
that's the big question.
Well, here's a bit of inspiration. Everyone saw how much Alan is struggling with his health, right? Everybody saw that on the video. He had 20 people sign the pledge. And he's in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the neck down. And he had 20 people sign the pledge. So if he can do it, we all need to be able to do it. Yeah. So, that's all I'm going to say. Paul, I'm going to have to go, brother. So great.
Thank you for coming on, mate. Yep. I'll speak to you later, Richard. Cheers, mate.
Okay. Cheers, Paul.
All
See
the
you
best.
soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Lovely seeing Richard as always. 5,257 people still watching. Please give us a thumbs up, guys. Precious Quinty De Vere. Tommy is a peacemaker. The man he has become is testament to this. Absolutely is a peacemaker. Jennifer, appreciate that. Thank you. And Kenny B has become a member. Jennifer, thank you so much. Like I said, guys, all the money that I make over this Christmas week is going to go to paying for transport for people to come down to the February the 1st day out. Ali, thank you for becoming a member. Cop Watcher. Paul, do you know the date for the September? Not the precise date just yet. My good friend from the United States, Ali Reza. How you doing, Ali? Lovely to see you, my friend. Keep up the good work, Paul. I'm with you from across the pond. Love your work. Still hope to get a wristwatch picture with you for old times, though. Ali, God bless you, my friend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And Ali has gifted 10 memberships. Wow, thanks, Ali. Please read my chat. It wouldn't let me send it as a super chat. Oh, comrade, I'd have to go through. Let's have a look. 4,000 messages, I'm afraid, my friend. I'm not going to be able to pick that one up, but I will try in a minute. Tony, thank you very much. Michael, thank you. No more supers today, guys. We will be wrapping up soon. I think, great. Comrade, I've found your message. I have a way to organise a general election legally within 6 weeks. It can be done. I've called and left messages with everyone, but no one replies. My email is in the chat. Comrade, please email me with that. Unfortunately, the problem is, with all this stuff, we get so many emails every day that even trying to read them, let alone act upon them, is just insane. That is the problem that you will find with all of us. Only yesterday I was invited to assist with, or asked to assist with, 3 ongoing issues that are really not quite in the area that I'm working, but nonetheless I'd be delighted to help if I possibly could. But this is not a case, none of them are making a case of, or just picking up the phone, making a call and getting a problem sorted. These are all issues that would take hours and weeks of your time, and unfortunately there just isn't enough time in a day. I wish there was. Let's try and delve into the regular chat for a moment. If I can try and get somewhere down to the bottom. Well, we're looking at the regular chat. You're still talking about Alan. So look, guys, I will be back, of course, over the Christmas period. We'll be back before then, before the Christmas shows. What can you do to help us? Get the pledge signed, share it, give the videos a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe to all the Patreon channels. And more than anything, be good, be careful, take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Love to you all.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing